by far one of the most beautiful times of year with the leaves on the tree turning colors. The harvested crops are turning that nice pretty color, but it's also a bad time of the year, sad time of the year for me because we're losing daylight. We are losing that summer fall feel and will not be far away from the cold months of winter. But to get to that point, today we're going to talk about grass and how we're going to take care of our lawn in October rather than like what we do during the summer and or spring time. First off, we want to make sure that we are ready to get our lawn ready to move forward. And the best way to do that is make sure that we're checking out the leaf situation. Depending on how many trees that you have in your yard, leaves can be a problem. Now, don't fret. You don't need to burn them if you don't have quite so many, because a good way lawn health is to also dump in or mow in or thatch some um, mulch, tree leaves into the soil. It covers the soil. It helps keep weed out. It holds in moisture. I mean, it's got so many good things to do. So a good rule of thumb is if you can't see grass from leaves, then you best be mulching and getting them chopped up pretty good. And when you can start seeing green leaves on grass, you should be in pretty good shape. Then you shouldn't have to go anymore. Be reminded though that depending on the time of the year that you do start that mulching process, you may have to do it another time or two. So just keep that in mind. That's exactly what I do in my lawn. I go out and when they start coming, I start mulching and I just go over and over and over them again until they're all ground up and I scatter them around the yard. I hardly ever leaves at my home and my yard is looking pretty good. So if you got a lot of leaves, make sure you take care of them. If you don't, and don't worry, it's so bad. And if you got a pile of leaves, and some places do have a lot of trees, oak trees, ash trees, you can also use some of that for your garden as a mulch process or your flower garden. Next thing up, final mowing. When we get ready to mow, what do? Every spring we come into the springtime with questions like, what's that snow mold? How come I got dead spots in my grass? Could be lots of things. Could be anywhere from voles that get in underneath the snow in the wintertime, and depending on your grass height, love to live there because there's good insulation, and they can actually live there for all winter long. And when the springtime comes, you'll see little trails through your yard in certain areas, very likely a vole. Best way to control some of that is to cut your grass 1.5 to 2 inches high. Not like the summertime, we ask you to cut 2.5 to 3 inches high, especially during the hotter part, drier part of the year. It's just easier in a grass plant not to be cut so short. But this time of the year, to eliminate the snow mold and other uh, rodents from making some damage in your lawn, 1.5 to 2 inches would be very appropriate. Make sure your lawnmower blade is sharp and that'll help you make that good even cut rather than a blade that's dull and actually kind of pulling the plant leaf when you're trying to mow, creating some more stress on that plant. Killing weeds too is another part of the fall operation. Yes, it is a good time, especially if you got things that are perennial type. A plant perennial is really busy right now trying to absorb all the nutrients it can to get through that winter season vengeance next spring. So right now is a great time to be controlling those weeds. Identify the weeds that you have and get the appropriate herbicide to control them weeds. And actually, right now with the gardens gone and all, it's a little less stressful of worrying about where that pesticide will end up, even though we still need to worry, but it's a little less stressful. But now is a great time to be getting those plants done. Some might say the frost got them. I will say, no, it didn't. It's a great time until it really get a killing frost on all plants before that has to happen. And lastly, just a little bit on grass seeding. Here we are talking about grass seeding. It's fall, but you know what? If we can get into that first part of November, end of October later, great time to put down a application of new seed. It lays there dormant. Next spring, nature will help that come up with the moisture it gives you through the snow, and you'll be surprised how well that works. I've done that in my own yard, and it works really nice. You know, there's not a lot of work to it. Spread it on just very, very lightly, rake it in. Um, Unbelievable how it works. And of course, the three varieties we want to talk about are Kentucky bluegrass, creeping fescue, and perennial ryegrass are the varieties for the yard. The Kentucky Blue is more for the sunny, more avid traffic, where the perennial ryegrass comes up and kind of does a fast start in the spring, helps get your lawn green and move forward with that. So winter's coming. Take a few minutes to get your yard ready, and you will not